What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Check the Kick podcast. I'm the host, Devin. Website is Sherdog.com, and we are back. We're going to go ahead and recap UFC 297 and talk about this Vegas card coming up here this weekend. Pretty decent weekend for me with picks. I feel like I got most things right, but maybe did not get the outcome all the way right. We're going to get into the Sean Strickland Dricus du Plessis fight. I feel like even though I didn't get the outcome right, I feel like I got that fight right. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed the fights, got to chill with the family, do whatever you like to do recreationally. I got out to do some fishing. Dev goes fishing. Sorry, handles there. Dev goes fishing. That's my thing outside of MMA. If I'm not working and I'm not doing MMA stuff, I'm out fishing. We're going to get right into it. Dricus du Plessis, South Africa, has a new middleweight champion. Pretty interesting fight. I still think Dricus du Plessis is he's officially the best worst fighter to ever exist, in my opinion. He is, I wouldn't even call him a technical brawler. He had great body kicks in this fight. His forward pressure is something that, has broken a lot of his opponents. It clearly broke Robert Whitaker and Darren Till, Trevin Giles, and all of his previous opponents. His forward pressure did not break Sean Strickland in this fight. This fight was very strange. Sean Strickland went out, got on the front foot, used the teep kicks, checked lots of kicks. There was a very slick kick check that Sean Strickland did. I don't remember what round it was in, honestly. I watched the fight back yesterday again. He checked one of Dricus's kicks with his rear foot. I thought that was pretty dope. Pretty technical stuff from Strickland. His jab is always on point. He got cut from a head clash kind of in the clinch where Dricus was attempting a takedown in the fourth. But the whole fight, Sean Strickland's jab was on fire. Anytime he threw his right hand, he had success whenever he threw the right hand. I wouldn't say wobbled Dricus, but definitely caused him to reset multiple times. Dricus du Plessis is a guy that, again, I will die on the hill saying he's the best worst fighter to exist in my opinion at this point. Gets his legs crossed, very herky-jerky, throws big overhands, switching stances, but had a lot of success just moving forward on Sean Strickland. I scored the fight. Round 1 for Sean Strickland, round 2 for Sean Strickland, round 3 and round 4 for du Plessis, and round 5 for Sean Strickland. I think Sean Strickland clearly won rounds 1 and 5. I think Dricus du Plessis clearly won round 4. The judge that scored the fight for Sean Strickland actually scored 1, 3, and 5. Verdict does the global scorecard, but those are scored by fans, so it's a little bit biased. Scored the fight for Sean Strickland. MMA decisions was split about 50-50. So again, an extremely close fight. I think Dricus du Plessis fought the best fight he possibly could and won it by a hair. I think Sean Strickland did not fight the best fight he could fight. He has that same Jorge Masvidal, that young veteran mentality where if he's not getting lumped up and hurt, he probably just doesn't feel like he's losing. Where through the third round, especially, like, he just wasn't letting it go. He let Dricus take the front foot. Sean Strickland is not a back foot counter puncher. He does his best work moving forward, and he moved forward the whole first round. He got away from the teeps. Sean Strickland, he showed this in his Israel Adesanya fight, and he showed in this fight, at least through the first round, that just teep kicking would force Dricus off on the back foot. Sean Strickland has a lot of great attacks that start combinations. His jab is great, but he just didn't follow it behind. Eric Nixick is an amazing coach, but I don't think his corner lit him up enough. I think that they should have been a lot more like, hey, dude, get the fuck out there and go get on this dude. That's what you do. You are a pressure fighter. go, go put this dude under the broiler and watch him cook. He just gave Dricus too many opportunities. Even in the 5th round, bloodied from a head clash, taking a bunch of body kicks from Dricus. When Sean Strickland just started brawling with Dricus, he won the brawl. I just don't think he did enough. I don't know if he was comfortable. Sean Strickland doesn't seem like a dude that's intimidated by the moment. And he still clearly won 2 rounds where Dricus clearly won 1. And I hate to see fights like this where in a 5-round fight, one guy clearly wins 1 round, that being Dricus. One guy clearly wins 2 rounds, that being Sean Strickland. And then, the other 2 rounds just kind of be skewed where you could see it 48-47 one way, 48-47 another way. It's not a robbery, but I do truly believe the judges got this fight wrong. And I'm trying to be non-biased about it because I don't like to be wrong with my picks. But again, I do truly believe that Sean Strickland won this fight. Dricus du Plessis had great takedowns. Sean Strickland hit a really brilliant switch. Sean Strickland's takedown defense, I wouldn't say it was the best, but his get-up game was great. So that, if you don't have great takedown defense, you better be a really good scrambler, and you better be able to get to your feet right away. There was one moment where they locked up. Sean Strickland tried to go for like a takedown or some sort of body lock, and Dricus was able to get him down to the ground. Dricus is clearly freaking strong as hell. He's a super athlete. He's gonna give a lot of dudes problems just because it's middleweight. If Dricus du Plessis was a 55er, he would have got iced 5-6 fights ago. But since he is at middleweight, a division with, love Sean Strickland to death, but Sean Strickland was the champion at middleweight. He's a good technician, but not the, middleweight doesn't have the best fighters in MMA. I will just say that. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Dricus does next, because some back foot counter puncher is going to ice him. It's going to happen, but it's a lot less likely because he's the middleweight champion of the world. Somebody, it's someone that's a great counter puncher that comes to mind. Someone like Conor McGregor with that just pull back left hand, or Dustin Poirier's pull back check right hook. Someone's going to ice him for it. Maybe it's Jared Cannonier. Maybe it's Israel Adesanya. But maybe not. Adesanya, is a very willing back foot fighter, and Dricus du Plessis will take the front foot on everybody. And if you don't kill him, he will continue to move forward. Great body kicks from Dricus. He is a guy that just runs on pure will. In 2024, Dricus du Plessis is the middleweight champion. And if you just look at him on paper, if someone just showed you tape of Dricus du Plessis, you would think this guy's not a good fighter, but he clearly is. And hate to say this, I'm still not 100% sold on him. In his post-fight interview in the cage, he said, "Hey, who says I don't have 5-round cardio?" Like, dude, you lost the 5th round. Sean Strickland was winging the ugliest overhands and still landing on you. But kudos to him. The dude literally, in his last 2 fights, he finished Robert Whittaker and went out there and had a war with Sean Strickland. I think Sean Strickland left too much on the table here. He got away from what was successful after the 1st round. Really halfway through the 2nd round, he kind of got away from his teeps, and you gotta throw the right hand. Your jab sets up your combinations. He's got incredible vision, great jabs. And what Dricus started to do was, Dricus was throwing these big blitzing 2-punch combinations, and Sean Strickland will put his hands out and kind of lean back. So Dricus just bullishly made those 2-punch combinations into 4-punch combinations, and he finished with the body kick. And a lot of it was getting rolled, and he's kind of shoulder rolling under stuff, but moving forward, throwing big shots, whether they could be bouncing off the shoulders, getting blocked, the little clash of heads causing Sean Strickland to bleed. The judges have a worse view of these fights than we do at home when we're watching them on our TV screens. And I don't think people realize that. There's, you know, next time you're standing next to a chain link fence, stand 10 feet back and just look through it. And there's going to be blind spots and stuff. So it's a very visual game, the way that it's scored and damage and it's really impact. Those big bullish punches from Dricus definitely look more impactful than just Sean sticking him with a nice clean jab. Dricus's face is all effed up and his eye. He's not fighting. People are saying he's going to fight at UFC 300. Yeah, he's not gonna. Dana White even said he thought Strickland won the fight. I know that's a terrible barometer of who don't don't trust Dana White for anything. It's just not lost for words, but I'm a little bit upset as someone that picked Sean Strickland, because to me, after watching this fight, if they rematch again, I kind of would have even more faith in Strickland because he has the tools to beat someone like du Plessis. And again, a back foot counterpuncher he's going to end up. Du Plessis will get knocked out within his next 3 fights. He can't. At the UFC level, you just can't have that style of fighting forever. I mean, unless your name is Khabib Nurmagomedov with an incredible grappling game and incredible athleticism to fall back on. Dricus is an incredible grappler, but nothing, nowhere near Khabib. And he just leaves himself way too open, makes so many mistakes, but it's fun. His fights are incredibly fun. A flawless fighter is not always an entertaining fighter. And all of Dricus's fights have been brawls. All of them have been fun as hell. There is no boring Dricus du Plessis fight. His title reign is not going to look like, those Adesanya Vettori fights. And he called for Adesanya. Alex Pereira said, hey, maybe I'll come back down to 185. That's the dude that might be a nightmare for someone like Dricus. Just a crafty puncher. That's huge. Dricus isn't taking a left hook from Alex. I'll tell you that right now. No one is. Ask everyone. Everyone that's fought him. Khamzat Chimaev has stated that he was guaranteed a title fight after he beat Usman. I'm a pretty big Khamzat fan, but the tweets, the pictures of him always being sick, anytime somebody wins a belt, Israel Adesanya won the belt, I'm coming for you. Sean Strickland won the belt, I'm coming for you. Alex Pereira won the belt, I'm coming for you. Dricus du Plessis won the belt, I'm coming for you. John Jones, I'm coming for you. It's getting to the point where it's like, shouldn't get off the pot. For Khamzat Chimaev, he's got a friendship with the dictator and a warlord, so he can't even get into the United States and fight here. So he needs to figure out. The dude left Sweden. He's in the UAE now, so I'm very unsure about Khamzat's future. He said he's ready to fight on UFC 300. It's he's even my middleweight pick for the Sherdog Fantasy MMA. I don't know what's going to happen with that dude. Hate to say it, but I don't know what's going to happen. I would be very interested in watching Dricus du Plessis fight Jared Cannonier. I think that is a low-key banger of a fight. You could stick that as a co-main under, a 205-pound title fight. Maybe 2, 3, 4 months down the line, maybe we get Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill as the main event. Dricus versus Cannonier as the co-main. Cannonier deserves it. He's coming off of a good win over Marvin Vettori. We're going to talk about Roman Dolidze and Imavov, they're fighting this weekend. I don't think the winner of that gets a title fight. I think the winner of that needs to win 2 more fights, or maybe at least 1 more fight in impressive fashion. Brennan Allen is out there winning fights. Israel Adesanya, I don't know what he's up to. He reacted to this fight, but again, I'm not sure what a Israel Adesanya reaction to a fight means. You know, he got kind of embarrassed by Sean Strickland and then kind of, took a hiatus, and then he had those legal issues. So we'll see. Alex Pereira said he could cut back down to 185 again. I know I just said that. I'm curious to see what that means. But I don't think that's happening. I mean, unless Dricus goes out there and beats Adesanya, then I could see that totally making sense. But Alex is a dude that's just here for big fights and money, and legacy. So it might make sense. Or a rematch with Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is a huge star. I mean, you guys know what's going on with him. Yeah, he may say some things that we all don't agree with, but he's bringing in the numbers. Go to YouTube and look at anything with Sean Strickland related. It's popping off. Yeah, I'm happy for Dricus. South Africa has a champion. He's, I guess, the first champion that trains and lives in Africa full time. So that's cool for the continent of Africa. Dricus gets a couple wins under his belt. They could do a fight card in Africa, him versus Adesanya. We'll see. I have a feeling this middleweight belt it's going to look like the light heavyweight belt, I think, for quite a while now. I think it's just going to get, hot potatoed from one dude to the next. And that's kind of fun, in my opinion. So let's see. Let me know what you guys think should be next for the new middleweight champion. And then for Sean Strickland, he's fought a lot of guys. He's very close fight with Jared Cannonier that he lost via split decision. Another one where I thought he won. He could fight a Khamzat Chimaev, but I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. What's good for Strickland is he's always a phone call away. He's willing to fight on a moment's notice. I'm recording this on January 22nd on Monday. The dude's posting on his Instagram story up a ladder on the side of his house for replacing his AC. The dude's is as blue collar as they come, so he's willing to take on anyone, and I'm happy for him. He got paid. Supposedly payouts are he got paid like 1.4 million. So good for him. And I'm happy for both the guys. They both got paid. Dricus got the belt. Sean Strickland got the money he likes, and it is what it is. There were plenty of things to talk about. I didn't pick the co-main event when I did my show last week for you guys. I did not talk about Mayra Bueno Silva and Raquel Pennington. And the fight is exactly why I didn't talk about it. It was worse than expected. Bad fight. Bad division. Just get rid of it. What are we doing? I don't want to ever watch someone lose their job. But man, oh man. It's very funny. Sidebar, watching Amanda Nunes give Tisha Torres a congratulatory hug in the crowd, and then the very next day post on her social media that she wants to come back and get her belt. The only thing that this fight, the co-main event, signifies is now we're going to still have to hear from Juliana Pena. But moving on to a real LOL funny moment of the night. Neil Magny gets a 3rd round TKO finish over Mike Malott. Mike Malott, I was about 1 minute into the 3rd round. I started to type this tweet that says something along the lines of, Mike Malott is cleanly winning this fight, and I still don't care about him. And after this fight, in a weird, messed up way, I actually care more about him than I did before. He was definitely being hyped up. It's one of those things. The UK does this with their guys. Ireland does it with their guys. A lot of these different countries outside of the US do this with their guys, where they're, in my opinion, they may be a little bit overhyped based on a fan base compared to their actual abilities. The UK is notorious for this. Irish MMA is very notorious for this. You got guys like Reese McKee, stuff like that. They're an Irish superstar, can't get a win in the UFC. And Mike Malott, unfortunately, is trending towards that way where you look at the dude's record and it's like, man, he got iced by Hakeem Dawadu. His best win before Neil Magny was Mickey Gall. And he did everything right. The tape study to beat Neil Magny is there. And I liked his game plan. He kind of took a combination of the Ian Gary fight and the Santiago Ponzinibbio fight, and he kind of mixed that with the Gilbert Burns fight and the Shavkat Rakhmonov fight. Part he missed was his cardio. It was very funny because Neil Magny was just like in a fight. Neil Magny's been in so many fights, and he's, as of lately, kind of been on the wrong end of shit kickings, where you look at the dude's record, and this really looked like the Hector Lombard fight, where Neil Magny's really, really tough. Look at the Ian Gary fight. Ian Gary took his lunch money over and over again. Neil Magny did not quit on himself. This fight was really strange. It almost seemed like it was Neil Magny's plan to I tweeted, once Neil Magny started to actually fight, he won. That's kind of how this was. Mike Malott was getting the takedowns, getting the control, landing the kicks. Mike Malott also does not have any boxing in boxing range. He's got good kicks from the outside. He's fast and he can explode into the pocket. He's got decent takedowns. He's a striking coach, which I find confusing. But Neil, I'm going to give him his middle name. It's Neil fucking Magny. It's like I'm 2 minutes left in the third round. Neil Magny gets a takedown. And Mike Malott, it's like one of those animes or those movies where like his soul got sucked straight out of his body. He looked like a ghost. And Magny just got top control, got into full mount, and just started punching his head off. And there was about like 25, 30 unanswered punches. And the ref comes in and just stops it. And it's like Mike Malott literally, I mean, it was like a hot air balloon where the little gas, part that's creating the fire just went out. And the air just disappeared and fell straight to the ground. That's what happened to Mike Malott here. Shout out to Neil Magny. He's got great cardio. He's a freaking just a G. Great cardio, tough as fuck. You have to take Neil Magny out of a fight. If you let him hang around, this can happen to you. If you're a fighter that's listening to this, no fighters probably listen to this. But if you do, and you end up fighting Neil Magny, if you don't get him out of there, be ready for the third round of your fight to look like this fight. He's done it to plenty of people. Go through his record. He's got finishes. That's what he can do to people. Little bit of a fraud check. Hate to use that term, but and you never want to say someone got exposed, but like Mike Malott got exposed here, guys. Not sure what's next for him. He's and all these male Canadian fighters, Jillian Robertson went out there and just freaking punched Polyana Viana's head off after failing on an armbar. Jasmine Jasdavicius, the strike differential in her fight with Priscilla Cachoeira was like 300-3. She absolutely just beat the living shit out of Priscilla Cachoeira. But the Canadian men went like 0-7. All of them lost. Charles Jourdain, all of them, and all of them are in kind of setup fights. Like this was a setup fight for Mike Malott, and Neil Magny knew that going in. But Neil Magny came, he did the thing. He shit in everyone's apple pie. How many people do you think were ripping up their tickets? Mike Malott was probably in a lot of people's parlays. It's Neil fucking Magny. That's what he does. What's next for him? I don't know. Whatever he wants. What's next for Mike Malott? A big step back. Maybe someone like Gabe Green. That would make sense to me. Maybe a guy like Johan Lioness that just got choked out in like 2 seconds. Those are the kind of dudes. And just because you're hyped up and you've got a lot of fans and you come from a place that doesn't really have a lot of stars, that's looking for that next, GSP, looking for that next Conor McGregor, doesn't always mean you're good. Um, and if Mike Malott was just another dude training at Killcliff, he might not have got this opportunity. So, I mean, it works in both ways. It really does. Where if, you can be that guy, like Shavkat Rakhmonov, Kazakh fighter. How many Kazakh fighters are on the UFC roster? Not many. But Shavkat Rakhmonov is 17-0 with 17 finishes. He's standing on that. And then you got guys like Reese McKee, who's, got a lot of fans in the UK. Can't win a fight in the UFC. Mike Malott's kind of right there in between. Hope the best for the kid. Hopefully, the kid, he's probably the same age as me, the guy. Hopefully he can get a good bounce back fight, and clearly he needs to be slow rolled. And again, Neil Magny, whatever the guy wants, give him whatever he wants. He deserves it. Final fight from UFC 297 we're going to talk about. Dana White said it was the most boring fight on the card. I think he probably just did the same thing I did and took a piss break during the co-main event, because if he there's no way he watched the co-main event if he thinks this fight was the most boring fight on the card. A lot of this card actually had quite a bit of just what I'll say. I don't want to call them bad fights, but I thought the Charles Jourdain Sean Woodson fight was not that great. The Brad Katona Garrett Armfield fight was okay, but we're here to talk about Evloev versus Arnold Allen. Evloev gets the decision win, unanimous, 29-28. I scored the fight for Evloev. There's a lot of people on social media that has seemed to scored the fight for Arnold Allen. Upon looking further into those people, come to find out a lot of those people are European, so there may be a little bit of biases there. Unfortunately, in today's world, a lot of the Russian MMA fighters just get unwarranted hate. If you're Russian, they're already getting graded on a downward curve, so it's going to be hard. If you're non-biased or you like Russian fighters, that's one thing. But a lot of the Russian fighters seem to just get a lot of hate, and they all get categorized in the same lay and pray. Evloev's wrestling is some of the best in the UFC. His mat returns, his scramble ability. Arnold Allen was hitting Granby rolls over and over again. It was super impressive. Evloev caught and hurt Arnold Allen, dropped him with a jab at one point. It was a very close fight. Arnold Allen had tons of success. Those knees were questionable. And everybody seems to have their own defining rules. What I think is interesting is, regardless of the knees being legal or illegal in the moment, if the ref comes in to stop a fight due to an illegal blow, and those blows that are deemed illegal impact the fight, a point should probably be taken away. I'm not saying that the strikes were illegal or legal. I'm saying that once the ref deems them illegal, he shouldn't give a hard warning. If the ref stops the fight, clears the knees illegal, it causes a clear cut on Evloev's head, Evloev's bleeding, a point probably should be taken, because that's what they're supposed to do. I'm on the fence about the knees, to be honest. Depending on the rule set, depending on the location, depends on, is it a hand on the ground? Is it a palm on the ground? Is it the fingertips on the ground? Is it just a point of contact to the ground? Depends on where the fights are taking place. That's just stupid. If you ask me, there should just be knees to a grounded opponent. Screw it. Just the same rules as ONE FC, or sorry, ONE Championship. Yeah, they allow knees to the head. Ask Demetrius Johnson about it. They're fun. He likes them, he hates them, whatever. But I feel bad for Arnold Allen in a way, because the dude fought Max Holloway and Movsar Evloev back to back. Evloev's undefeated, and Max Holloway is Max Holloway. And clearly Arnold Allen is good enough to keep up with maybe not Max Holloway, but clear in a 5-round fight. Evloev's going to have some problems. He's lost third rounds to people. You know, we already talked about Hakeem Dawodu, but go watch Movsar Evloev's fight with Hakeem Dawodu, where he started getting tagged up and wobbled in the third round of their fight. He loses a lot of third rounds. This step up in competition, being 17-0, and being as good as he is, he really needs to get that under control. He's going to always be, you know, he in M1 Global, he fought as a bantamweight. He was a bantamweight champion. In the UFC, he's fighting at 45. So he needs to get that under control. He really needs to figure out how to put a stamp on things or figure out how to not gas out. I don't want to say gas out, but use too much of his energy through the first couple rounds of a fight. His mat returns look great. His grappling looked great. It was all great, but flagging like that and dropping a third round, it's gonna bite him one day. It didn't bite him, you know, this past weekend against Arnold Allen, but it's gonna bite him one day. I think Evloev could have trusted his striking a little bit more and probably let his hands go a little bit more in this fight. Whenever he let his hands go, he would land clean on Arnold Allen and get reactions out of him. Again, he buzzed Arnold Allen at one point in this fight. What's next for him? I'd like him to face like a Josh Emmett, a guy that has great takedown defense and can absolutely fucking blast someone in the pocket. Or maybe the winner of Yair versus Ortega. I think those are the two best options for him, especially with Max Holloway moving up to 55 to fight Justin Gaethje. I would love to see Evloev scramble and wrestle with Brian Ortega if he gets through Yair. I actually think Yair is probably going to beat him. So him versus Yair would be tons of fun, or him versus Josh Emmett. I think those are the two best fights for him because he's one more. He called for a title shot. I don't think he's there yet. He's one fight away, especially if Topuria beats Volk. You know, Volk's going to get a rematch. And I'm not 100% sure Volk's going to beat Topuria. I'm very on the fence with that fight. So the 145 title picture, this, you know, maybe a year before someone outside of Volkanovski and Topuria fight for it. So Evloev, take a fight, get to 18-0, and we'll see. I would love to see him fight Ilia Topuria. I think that'd be an amazing fight. And at that point, if they both keep winning, they'll both still be undefeated. It'd be incredible. And they both are 17-0. Be a cool, very cool thing. Card was all around good. We talked about Jasmine Jasdavicius putting on a legendary shit kicking over Priscilla Cachoeira. I was thinking, dang, you need to finish this girl. And she went out there and got the finish. That was awesome. Siri City and Ramon Tavares put on a great fight. Ramon missed weight for that one, which sucks because it was an incredible fight. Chris Curtis had a pretty decent fight with Marc-Andre Barriot. The third round of that fight was great. Jimmy Flick submitted Malcolm Gordon, and Malcolm Gordon seemingly retired, and he didn't even get a moment in Canada. I kind of feel bad for the dude. Sam Patterson went out there and easily submitted Johan Lioness. I don't think Johan Lioness is going to be in the UFC much longer. We already talked about Charles Jourdain, Sean Woodson. All around pretty good card, you know, probably besides the co-main event and the Armfield Katona fight. It was an okay card, you know. 298 is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, I think, with Volk and Topuria. So we will see. Letter grade, I give it a B-. Acceptable. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What was your letter grade of this card? That's the show, guys. Check the kick. There's my social media handle. Instagram, Twitter, those places. Give me a buzz. Tell me what you think. Shoot me a DM. Comment on this video. I don't say this at every show, but I should. Go to Sherdog.com. Support the Sherdog family. Sherdog's a great website. We try to do a ton for you guys. There's plenty more guys that do way better and way more awesome shit than I do. So check out Sherdog.com. Listen to Keith and Ben's show. Listen to Sean Sheehan show. Listen to all the shows on Sherdog.com. Go to the forums. Go to the website. Checkthekick.com. Checkthekick.com. Sherdog.com. Check the Kick podcast. Enjoy the fights.